Hi, I'm Annie Botticelli, and this is the Storyteller Forecast for Libra for April 2016. Go to my website, anniehelpsyou.com, or click on the link below this video, and you can see more there about my blogs. I have astrology blogs and health blogs and inspirational blogs, and while you're there, sign up for my free email newsletter and become part of my community. We've got another astrologically busy month here in April. We still have news coming in from the eclipses. The eclipses happened in March. If you didn't listen to my March report, definitely go back and do that, because there's a lot that goes on in March that will be relevant for a good portion of the year and possibly beyond, including and especially the eclipses. The eclipses often bring news in. Sometimes there's one piece of news, sometimes there's waves of news, but April is still fair territory for eclipse news coming in. And this could be awesome, wonderful news. This could be very difficult, terrible news. This is life-changing type of news. This eclipse time that we have around the spring and around the fall is very, very astrologically busy. So we're moving into April after February and March being very busy. April will also be that way, but at the same time, we have Mars going retrograde and we have Mercury going retrograde. So it's like all this energy is pushing forward still. Lots of personal planets in Aries are making you want to do stuff, be action-oriented, take action. And then the retrogrades, both Mars and Mercury happening in April, are like coming like this wall of energy against the forward movement. So it's like creating this collision of energy. So it's really important to understand everything at play. If you have not launched very important things already and you are watching this before April and you have something new, a new website, a new domain name, you're launching a book, you're something that is a birth, an initiation, you want to ask someone to marry you, you want to move forward in some way with a relationship, you want to move, you want to, something that is like a major initiation of doing something new, the energy in March is going to be much better for that than it is in April and even in the months to follow April, because Mars retrograde officially starts April 17th and it goes through June 29th. But the closer you get to April 17th, the stronger, there's a shadow period beforehand. And so even though it doesn't start till April 17th, all of April is getting very thick with Mars retrograde. And then after June 29th, when it's direct, it's still going to take a little bit of time, really until August 21st to get its full strength back. So it's like, this is a really long transit. Because of that, I made a separate video called Mars Retrograde. It's posted now. You can see it on my YouTube channel. And I also have a separate blog, Mars Retrograde, which you can see on my website, anniehelpsyou.com, and then click on blog and then search for Mars. I want you to be as informed as possible about the do's and don'ts besides the ones I'm mentioning, because it lasts such a long time and this doesn't happen as often as Mercury retrograde. So we're not as familiar with the things to avoid. And some of the things might surprise you. It surprised me as I've learned about these things in the past. So check out the Mars retrograde info. But know that if you're trying to push something forward and you're watching this before April, you want to try to get it done. If you have to push something through in April, the new moon in Aries on April 7th could be a good time to do it. We've got a little bit of sketchiness the day before, but the actual day of the 7th, this wonderful new moon in Aries is the epitome of new beginnings. So it's unfortunate this year that it has both Mercury shadow retrograde and Mars retrograde shadow kind of covering it, because this is, in my opinion, the new moon in Aries is one of the most astrologically important days of the year, because it's one of the best days to do a vision board or set intentions or gather your thoughts and really make your wishes for what you want to see happen in the next year. And the universe is exceptionally receptive. The only other day more powerful than this for manifesting is your birthday. So this is a really, really big time. So if you have to push it to then that's fine, but it's getting a little bit close and I don't know if I would even do it myself, so try to get your things pushed in through March. Now, it doesn't mean that you can't do anything when Mars is retrograde. It just means you don't want to initiate new things. So you can work on things you've already implemented. All the people that I work with, I've been encouraging them to push things through, new things, and then you can use the retrogrades to fine-tune the things that you're working on, and to go back over things. So that's the best way to use the energy. Mercury goes retrograde on April 28th. The shadow period starts April 2nd. It stays retrograde until May 21st. So from April 28th through May 21st, Mercury retrograde, all of the rest of April is covered in Mercury retrograde. Definitely check out my Mercury retrograde video to see more of the do's and don'ts with that, because there are lots of things to know and there's too many other things to talk about. I don't have time to go into all of them, but I do a very thorough job in that video. So specifically for Libras, we've got major emphasis on the 6th house. The 6th house is the house of your health and everything that goes along with your health. So your diet, your supplement regimen, your routine, your exercises, meditation, yoga, doctor visits, diagnostic labs, and other exams. So if it's a really good time to focus on your health. Sometimes when the planets are moving this way through this house, if you weren't purposely, proactively focusing on these things, something will come in that makes you focus on it. And it could be specific to your own body, an event, a circumstance, a wake-up call, or it could happen to someone close to you. Something could happen to someone close to you that makes you think, oh gosh, I better be checking into some of these things. So it's hard to tell what will be the impetus for you to focus on this, but there's lots of energy around it. The 6th house also rules pets and animals. So there might be certain things going on with your pets. Some of them could be good, some of them could be challenging. They might need a little more attention. Maybe you have a little bit more time to focus on them, but that's animal energy there too. The 6th house is also the house of your daily work and your office space. So if your office space is home, then it's there. If your office is at an office, then it's there. Workplace dynamics, things like that. The 6th house is also having to do with your organization system or lack thereof. There's an amazing book called, I might mess the name up, but I'll give you enough that you could find it. It's by Marie Kondo, Kondo. It's called The Magical Art of Tidying Up, something like that, The Magic of Tidying Up. And this is an amazing book that very well could change your life. When you clear out your space, you clear out your inner space as well, and major transformation can occur. And with all the emphasis on your 6th house, this might be the time to do something like that. She has a special, if you've tried decluttering and tried clearing out before, she has a special technique that has been time tested with her massive amount of experience, her life experience and her work experience. So you might really enjoy that book. And I think that it would be really helpful. And there's also a sequel to that called Spark Joy, which would also be helpful. So early and most middle degree Libra placements are also going to have a huge focus in the 7th house of relationships. So early degree placements are those from the beginning of the sign, so around September 23rd through around October 2nd. And this is also going to be true for many middle degree placements. So from October 3rd through around October 12th. Big focus on relationships. For the rest of you later degree Libra placements, this is coming for you because these planets have moved in for the earlier placements into the 7th house, and they'll be following suit very quickly for you as well. So focus on relationships, romantic relationships, business relationships, clients, any personal one-on-one connecting with people is very strongly coming up. For some of you, that new moon in Aries, this very important new moon in Aries, will actually take place in the 7th house. So that adds a lot of new openings for relationship. Of course, with that being said, remember what I'm saying about the retrogrades happening concurrently. So your relationship energies might be new levels of current relationships. If you have a brand new relationship come in April, and you don't know the person, you've never seen or heard of them before, be very cautious with moving forward because you're in that Mars retrograde and Mercury retrograde, and so it might take the times of those transits before you to really see the clear picture on new people that come in. So just be wary of that and listen to the Mars and Mercury retrograde videos to get more insight on that. But there's a lot of new energy that can come in with relationships, just with the ones that you already have. And also possibly short-term relationships, like if you need someone to work on a project with you, but it's a short-term venture. Things that rule the short term are very much indicated with the retrogrades. For you later degree Libra placements, so like around October 13th through the 23rd, you still have a huge focus in the 5th house. So the 5th house is all about true love and romance and children and conception and creativity. And this is for actual human children, And this is also for creative ideas. Some people have their creative projects as their babies, and those are definitely in this 5th house. So very astrologically busy in the 5th house. It's also the house of hobbies and fun and pleasure. So maybe this month will bring you continued focus on fun things like that. So let's see, just the recap, we've got this energy with the planets moving into Aries and all this busyness from March carrying over into April, making you want to do something. Try to make the things you do not be new launches and just work on things you've already committed to and follow the flow of what the universe is bringing you. If you're really trying to push hard on something and it's not working out, then it could be that the retrograde is kind of saying, hey, it's not really the time for that now. You know, so a lot of discerning between or navigating between these conflicting transits comes from your intuition. You know, sometimes you've got to push through to get it done, but sometimes if you're catching flack from the universe, it's because you're not supposed to be focusing on those things. So really pay attention to that now, because the forces against you may seem very strong, and they're not intended to be against you. They're intended to be for you, but you might feel like they're against you if you have an agenda. You know, so I always talk about agendas, and I'll give you times where your agenda is easier to push through, and there's times where it's not as easy to push through. And this might be one of those times, so just pay attention to that. The full moon is on April 21st or 22nd, depending on where you are. Early degree placements, very early, just really the first couple of days of Libra degree placements, like September 23rd, 4th, 5th, something like that. And the first several degrees, if you're watching for your rising sign, so like 0, 1, 2, 3 degrees, you all will have this full moon, this coming to fruition, this culmination in the first house, in the second house of finances, material possession. So something coming to completion, fruition, involving an income stream or self-sufficiency. The rest of you are going to have this full moon energy in your first house. So often this brings up something that you have to attend to within your body, mind, spirit. Sometimes it's a health crisis. Sometimes someone gets sick, and maybe that's not a crisis, but you get sick and you have to focus on yourself. Often people will just push themselves and not listen to what their body's saying, and then they're in a situation. So this full moon is telling a story about neglecting or not paying attention to something with your mind or your spirit or your emotions, and then it coming to a critical mass in the first house. Now, alternatively, or even at the same time, when a full moon happens in the first house, sometimes you get recognized for something. Sometimes you get appreciated or noticed, or you're in the limelight. So maybe you were pushing so hard and that's part of why you got recognized, and then maybe you also got sick because you weren't resting in between. You know, these are common examples of how I see this energy manifest. So hopefully you'll stay well, and since you know this beforehand, beef up your immune system. You know, if you know you eat certain foods that get you sick, avoid those, because this energy increases the odds of an illness or a sickness. But if you head it off, then you could prevent it. So those are the main things that we have going on in the month of April. If you would like some personal assistance, you can go to my website, anniehelpsyou.com. You can see my growing list of self-development tools, including my Train Your Brain programs, which are really, really cool subliminal programs on different topics, bundles that help you to build new neuronal pathways, that help you to create new experiences in your life. And if you are interested in creating successful online business, I will be enrolling for that course. And also sign up for my free email newsletter and you'll become one of my VIPs. So I hope you have a wonderful month, and I'll see you next month. Bye.